chapter 16. And the title of this chapter is Daiva, Asura, Sampat, Vibhaga, Yoga. Dev means divine, Asur means demonic. Okay. Sampad, normally Sampad means a wealth. Over here it really means the characteristics. And Vibhag means the division. So division of the divine and the demonic qualities. That's what he's talking about in this chapter. Okay. So he is describing like two kinds of natures among human beings. These are not like a species as Devta and demonic, Devta or Asur. One person can have sometimes act like a Devta, and another times the same person can act like a demon also. When we are in a helping nature, we are a Devta. When we are end up hurting somebody, we are a demon. So it's not a individual person, it is the characteristics or a nature of a person. And it's not to judge others, it is to look within ourselves. This is for our own knowledge that, hey, am I on the right path or not? Okay, so two kinds of natures among human beings. So divine could be called saintly also. So saintly nature develops by following the instructions of the scriptures, cultivating the mode of goodness, purifying the mind through spiritual practice, and ultimately it leads to God realization. And in contrast, the demonic nature that develops or it gets strengthened from associating with the modes of passion like Rajsikta, ignorance, that's Tamsikta, and also embracing the materialistic view. Thinking that this material success is the ultimate goal that takes us towards the demonic side. Instead of remembering, yeah, material success is needed, it's just a means. It's not the goal. Goal is to connect with the divine. So this is what Lord Krishna talks about in this chapter. So let's look at the very first three verses. That's where he's giving the divine qualities. He says, fearlessness, purity of the inner psyche, perseverance in the yoga of self-knowledge, charity, sense-restraint, sacrifice, study of the scriptures, austerity, honesty, non-violence, truthfulness, absence of anger, renunciation, equanimity, abstinence from malicious talk, compassion for all creatures, freedom from greed, gentleness, modesty, absence of fickleness, splendor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, absence of malice, and absence of pride. These are some of the qualities of those endowed with divine virtues, O Arjuna. We have talked about in the previous chapters all these qualities. When he talked about the qualities of a yogi, qualities of a bhagat, the devotee, qualities of a wise person, these were the qualities. And now the similar qualities he is enumerating as qualities of a devata also, a saint also. Okay, so I'm sure you are familiar with most of these terms, but if you are not, you should think it through and see whether you have those qualities or not. First, we have to understand what these qualities are. Only then we can reflect upon it and make sure that we have those qualities. Okay. So purity of the heart. They always talk about purity of the heart. Purity of the heart is when we don't hurt anybody, don't even think about hurting anybody. Automatically purity comes. And the very first quality he talked about fearlessness. Fear is always from somebody else. If we have this attitude of sameness, that we are all part of same God, what are we afraid of? So, or sometimes fear comes when we are attached to certain thing, attached to certain outcome. Then we get afraid. I won't get it. So more and more fearlessness, more and more purity of the heart comes in us. And definitely all this is connected with the senses also. Senses got to be in control. So that's why he mentioned that also. See, all this connect. To me, I think these qualities are like a chain links. We work on one, the other quality we see that showing up in our personality too. Okay, a person who's, see, one of the quality he said, no anger. A fearful person will be angry also. If there is you have worked on the fear part, then of course you have worked on your anger also. And anger is when we don't have control over our senses. See, anger is not just only hitting somebody or saying something harmful. Ultimately, anger really means in your mind also no anger. So that all comes with the practice. And that's why he said steadfastness. Got to keep on practicing. Keep on practicing. Okay. So any question, any term which you want explanation for? Yes, Kim?
Hershey, can you explain what you just mentioned? You said anger is when we don't have control over our senses.
Which term is that?
I'm sorry, you said that anger is when we don't have control over our senses?
Yeah, like if I don't have control, if there is anger in my mind, that means I don't have control over my mind. And then from there, it can come into my mouth. If I don't have control over my speech, I end up saying something which will hurt somebody. And ultimately, if I'm so vulgar, I may hit somebody. From a very subtle to the gross. Sometimes we can control the anger. Physical anger we can control, but we don't control the mental anger. So the Devata, the saint is who doesn't get angry even in the mind.
So, Hershey, when I think of senses, I think of the input, the input, or the sensory information that's coming into us. But you can also call it senses, like what's coming out of these sense organs, like what comes out of the mouth.
Yeah. See, from the action organs are the one which are working outwardly. Sense organs are the one which are absorbing the information. With the eyes, I see. With the mouth, I speak. Mouth is considered an action organ. But the mouth works two ways. Mouth is a sense organ also. When I taste something, that is a sense organ. I taste something bitter, then I say it is bitter. So the same organ has two functions. Okay, but the ears, they are the sense organs. From the ears I hear, and with the mouth I speak. So we got to control our sense organs also, our action organs also. Okay, so and it's not just a one day, it's all our life. Certain areas we can act very divine, but sometimes something happens We feel out of control. So, but if we know that when we are out of our control, then we are not acting saintly. So we got to work on it. See, first the knowledge has to be there, right? So that's what he's giving us over here, a list of the characteristics of a divine being. And we all are fully capable of becoming divine. And if we just lose control, we can become demonic also. See, don't you see that in certain situations, you are very saintly. The same person put in a different situation can get out of hand also. So we got to make sure that no matter where we are saintly. That's what we need to work on with the help of all of these qualities. Not just one or two, all of them. And they're all definitely connected with each other. And we got to just, this is the reflection we need to do. Where do I really stand? Grade ourselves. Like the first one, fearlessness. Sure, I'm not afraid of most of the things, but is there any fear in my mind? And if it is, why is it there? When there's when there's a less faith in God, more fear. Faith and fear, they're opposite end of that spectrum. If somebody says, no, I'm afraid of God, we should be afraid of doing something wrong, but we should not be afraid of God. God means love. We should not do wrong actions. We should not hurt anybody. We should not be malicious. We don't want to become demonic. But somebody who says, I'm afraid of God, that's really does not make sense. Okay? So more love for God, that means you have faith in God, you're connected with God, fewer and fewer or lesser and lesser fear of God. Okay? So I would say just write them down and think about it. This is the homework for us. Where do I really stand? This is what we need to work on. And he said one of the equality over here is tap. In Sanskrit, if you look at the tap is means austerity. And tap has to be, it's not a punishment. If we look at tap as a punishment, then it's a negative. But tap is a positive thing, austerity, that you are controlling yourself. You are putting yourself some limits. That's a tap. Tap at the verbal level, tap at the physical level, tap at the mental level. Most of these qualities are at all three levels of our personality, because these are our layers of personality. So we need to work on those. So I just don't want to have only a divine body. See, when he talks about splendor, in Sanskrit it's called tej. Tej means there's a brilliance in the personality. So at the physical level also you are healthy. At the mental level, you are calm. Intellectual level, there's a clarity. That's called tej. There's a brilliant personality. Okay, so all these terms are pretty deep terms, and there's a lot of work to be done. This is our when we say that we do the yoga sadhana, this is the yoga sadhana, that we are trying to become better at every level of our personality. Okay, so then he says in the next verse, O Arjuna, the marks of those who are born with demonic qualities are hypocrisy, arrogance, pride, anger, harshness, and ignorance. Okay, so he gave so many qualities as divine qualities. Then he mentioned few of the demonic qualities right now. So hypocrisy, arrogance, pride, anger, harshness, and ignorance. And we all know that sometimes these qualities, or we shouldn't call them qualities as such, these are like the traits in us which make us a lower level of human being. So demonic. Then he must have looked at Arjuna and he said, divine qualities lead to salvation. The demonic qualities are said to be for bondage. Do not grieve, O Arjuna. He must have seen a little sadness in Arjun's face. He said, don't grieve. You are born with the divine qualities. So he wanted to encourage Arjuna. Okay, because there's so many demonic qualities he mentioned too, even though it's only lot less he said, but he's going to talk about it more in the rest of the chapter. There are only two types of human beings in this world: the divine or the wise, and the demonic or the ignorant. The divine has been described at length. Now hear from me about the demonic origin. So he wants to elaborate on the demonic a little bit more. See, in this English book, it says castes. It's not a caste. Okay? That is a wrong translation in English over here. There are two types. And two types, we should not look at it that there is a category of divine and category of demonic. It's just like at any given time, we can act as a demonic or divine. It's up to us. Persons of demonic nature do not know what to do and what not to do. So that means there's a fickleness in the mind. There's no clarity. They have neither purity, nor good conduct, nor truthfulness. They say the world is unreal, without a substratum, without a God, without an order. So they think it's just a chaos here. There's no ruler over here. Sexual union of man and woman alone and nothing else causes the world. So this is the philosophy or a belief of a demonic person. No belief in God. And we do hear a lot of people these days talking like that. People will even say that if there was a God, then there won't be any hurricanes or the tornadoes or the earthquakes. Okay. So Lord Krishna says they say the world is unreal without a substratum, without a God, without an order. And he says, adhering to these and other twisted diabolic views, these degraded souls with small intellect and cruel deeds are born as enemies for the destruction of the world. Because when you don't believe in the higher power, when you don't believe in the higher good, material success is the only goal for you, then you will definitely start doing the acts which will end up hurting somebody else. So that's why he said destruction of the world. Filled with the insatiable desires, hypocrisy, pride, and arrogance, holding wrong views due to delusion, they act with impure motives. Impure motives. So this is like a not seeing the oneness, but there's a lot of just me and mine, and impurity will definitely come. Impurity is always when we see the me versus you. But when there's a unity, there's a oneness, then there will be more and more purity. So you can see that demonic qualities are exact opposite of the divine qualities. That's one way to look at it. Obsessed with endless anxiety, lasting until death, considering sense gratification their highest aim, and convinced that sense pleasure is everything. Bound by hundreds of ties of desire and enslaved by lust and anger, they strive to obtain wealth by unlawful means to fulfill sensual pleasures. Okay, so on the divine side, it was like a control of the senses, clear picture of the highest. Over here, even though a person could be most of the time Rajasic, but very easy to slide down towards the Tamasic, the ignorance. Okay, bound by hundreds of ties of desires. These desires are all worldly desires. I want to have this, I want to be that. And that's why the anxiety and the stress also. That's where it comes from. And then if the desires are so many, and with the rightful ways you cannot fulfill the desires, the person end up doing the unlawful means also. That's what he's talking about. This has been gained by me today. So this is a philosophy of a demonic personality. This has been gained by me today. I shall fulfill this desire. I have this much wealth and will have more wealth in the future. It's just like a never enough. Conquering this, having this, and always want to have more because there's no satisfaction. Okay, so it's like in their mind they think I deserve this, I got it, and I want to get more. That's all. That enemy has been slain by me, and I shall slay others also. I am the Lord, I am the enjoyer, I am successful, powerful, and happy. Because they think that worldly material gain is the only happiness. They think I have acquired this, I have bought this, I have conquered this person, bought this company, I will have another one also. Okay? I am rich and born in a noble family. Who's equal to me? So it almost looks like that it has been written for recent years, but it was written 5,000 years ago. I am rich and born in a noble family. Who is equal to me? I shall perform sacrifice, I shall give charity, and I shall rejoice. So they have, definitely they'll give, but wherever their name is written also. But I'll give charity and people will know about it. Thus they are deluded by ignorance, bewildered by many fancies, entangled in the net of delusion, addicted to the enjoyment of sensual pleasures, they fall into a foul hell. Okay, so these kind of worldly desires ultimately they fall into this is foul hell. In Sanskrit, it's called patanti narke ashuchau. That kind of a hell, a foul hell. Self-conceited, stubborn, filled with the pride and intoxication of wealth, they perform sacrifices only in name or show. They want others to know that they have done this kind of a yajna or they have done some kind of a austerity. Not according to scriptural injunctions. Because scriptures don't talk like that. Authentic scriptures, what do they say? They say goal is God. Goal is purity. Goal is contentment. Goal is to reduce your desires. So that's why Lord Krishna is saying not according to the scriptural injunctions. So they do perform the yajnas, but the yajna is just for their own name and fame so that other people know that we are doing it. Okay? These malicious people cling to egoism, power, arrogance, lust, and anger. So if you want to just summarize all the characteristics of a demonic person. That's what he's doing over here. Egoism, power. Power over here really means it could be a physical power, it could be material power. Arrogance, lust, and anger. And they deny my presence in their own body and in others' bodies. My presence means the presence of God, the soul, the Atma. They just don't want to talk about it, they don't want to think about it. Then Lord Krishna says, I hurl these haters, these cruel, sinful, and mean people into the cycles of death and birth in the womb of demons again and again, according to their karma. Because if thoughts are like this, karmas are accordingly, and then definitely they'll be in the cycle again and again. And the demon's womb of demon means the degraded parents he wrote over there. That means the lower yonis, okay, lower, where they'll suffer more. And suffering is always because of our own actions. So he says it's according to their karmas. So the real power which is propelling all of this is our karmas. Remember, karmas are not only the physical karmas. Karmas are at the verbal level also, at the mental level also. Okay, all the karmas. Oh Arjun, entering the wombs of demons, birth after birth, the deluded ones sink to the lowest level without ever attaining me, until their minds turn Godward by my causeless mercy. Okay, so because it can be a long, long time. The cycle, the birth cycle of Brahma is a very long. Okay, so it can take countless lifetimes. But we always have a chance. So that's why he said, by my causeless mercy. My compassion is always there. Presence of God is always in us. So whenever we are awakened, whenever we make a resolve, we can change the direction. Yes, Kim.
Jonathan has a question.
Yes, Jonathan.
I was just wondering, what is meant by causeless?
Causeless, it's like there's no cause for it. Causeless means it just happens. It's just like because presence of God is there. So it might, that person might see the light. Maybe in the presence of a saint. It could be in the presence of something can happen all of a sudden, and then you are awakened to this truth. Okay, so that's what causeless means.
Hershi, it could also be called grace.
Yeah, that's a grace also. Yeah, because it's always there, but it just happens. Maybe the time is right. It was supposed to happen like that. Okay. Yeah. See, this causeless word is used by this author. In Sanskrit verse, there's no causeless word over there. So this is an interpretation of this author.
I see.
Okay. So, but to me, I think because presence of God is everywhere.
Yes.
In everybody.
Yes.
And ultimate goal is the same for all of us.
Yes.
So it just can happen. It will happen. And if we are aware of it at that time, then we can just make a resolve. See, ultimately resolve has to be made by that person too.
What would be a good example of being aware of the causeless mercy and then making a resolve?
See, there are always good things happening too in our life.
Yes.
So when something good happens without us doing anything about it, be thankful to God.
Of course.
And then take a U-turn. Okay? Just be aware of it and then make a resolve that, hey, I want to be better now. Okay, I want to do my part. Making his resolve is that. See, just like Tulsidas did.
Anji.
He was so infatuated with his wife. He was a very worldly person, couldn't live without his wife.
Right.
His wife was gone to her parents' house for a few days. He couldn't live without her. He just followed her, middle of the night. And when she saw him over there, because he climbed from the back of the house because it was night. So he didn't want anybody to see him that he has come.
Yeah.
So he climbed from the back of the house. He saw the window. He thought that there is a rope hung down there. And he just held the rope and climbed up and jumped into the window of his wife's room. And she was startled to see him there.
Yes.
And she said, "How did you get here?" He said, "You are the one who just hung the rope." She says, "I never did." When they saw outside, there was a snake
Oh my God.
slithering away. So she said that with your infatuation for me, if you turn it, if you were so much in love with God, you can attain godhood.
Yes.
And that the resolve he made.
And he did.
From there, his life changed. He became the greatest poet. The Ramayana which he wrote is read. I mean, there's like all the Vedic knowledge is in that Ramayana. Tulsidas Ramayana is called Ramcharitmanas.
Mhm.
All the knowledge is in there. That just came from the practice which he did when he turned around. He
Mhm.
made a resolve.
So there was a grace hidden in that act.
Yes,
And
grace was
he
there.
made it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good example.
I mean, if he would have stayed as just a
Lover.
lover, a worldly lover, sure he would have made his wife happy with all that love. We
Yeah.
would have never known him after hundreds of years.
Yes.
Now we all know him because he became a lover of God,
Of God. Very nice.
right? So
Very
made a resolve.
Yes. That's a great
Okay.
example.
Kim is laughing and Jonathan is laughing. It's okay to love your
You
wife
can't
and
see me, but I'm laughing too.
but there should be a higher love though, right?
Yes. Yes. Great.
So I'm not saying that don't love each other, do love each other, but
Yes.
keep on growing.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So see, there's a difference between love and infatuation, right?
Yes. Yes.
So always remember this. Or there's another great story about Valmiki also.
Would you
He
tell us?
was a
Mhm.
he was a robber, thief,
Wow.
and he made a resolve because his guru said that you do all these deeds. You hurt people, you kill people for money. He said, "Sure, I get to feed my family."
Mhm.
He said, "You do this and you feed your family. You think they are going to take a part of the sin which you are accruing?" He
Mhm.
said, "Sure, they will."
Mhm.
Guru said, "Okay, why don't you ask them?" He goes home and wife says, "No way. Your job is to bring money and the food at home. Your sins are your sins." Children said the same thing.
Mhm.
He turned around, came back to his guru. And you know who was his guru? Naradji.
Oh.
So he said, "Yeah, just like you said, they have washed their hands. They don't want to
Mhm.
take any part of the sins which I'm doing. So what should I do now?" So his guru said, "Sit over here." He
Mhm.
said, "Remember God's name. Wash away all the sins with God's name." He just sat there in meditation, not for a day or two, for years.
Mhm.
Years. It's like ant hills were formed on his body. That's why he's called Valmiki. Valmiki means a hill of ants.
Is that right? I
His
don't-
name was Ratnakar. He had a different name, but
Oh.
he's known for Valmiki now.
Oh my
So
God.
made a resolve.
Yes.
From demonic to the saint.
Mm.
Okay, so
Thank you
these
so much.
so that's why I think he wrote over here that you once you decide that, once you have made a resolve,
Mhm.
you can reach there. See, most of the people are in between.
Yeah.
Most of us are like that. Some demonic actions, some divine actions. That's why Jesus Christ also said, either be hot or cold. If you're in between, I'm going to spit you out.
Oh.
And we are in between actually.
Mm.
Right?
I know I am. Mhm.
We are on too, Prem. You are not the only one. We are all like that. Some places we are very saintly.
Yes,
And
yes.
some places where our selfishness comes, we just become very demonic also. So we are in between, lukewarm. Okay? So when we study something like this, we make a resolve that, hey, this time around, because last time, in the last life, we were lukewarm. That's why we are here in a human body.
Yes.
This time around, we are going to pass.
Thank you.
We don't want to fail again,
Thank you.
right?
Yes.
So,
Thank
O Arjun, entering the wombs of demons, birth after birth, the deluded ones sink to the lowest level. You know, Kim, I would like you to put in the handouts, that handout where we have the Satvik, Rajsik, Tamsik categories. I think you have that handout.
Yes.
Okay. So that way everybody can, if you don't have it, print it out. Go on the website, there are handouts available, so you will see that how we can, with our resolve, with our effort, turn our tamsikta to rajsikta, and from rajsikta to satvikta. Satvik qualities are the one which are divine qualities. Okay. So then he says lust, anger, and greed. See, first he gave a lot of characteristics of a demonic person, then he condensed them. Now in this verse number 21, he has condensed them further, just 3. If pay attention to the start from these 3, he says lust, anger, and greed are the 3 gates of hell, leading to the downfall or bondage of the individual. And lust over here means excessive material desires.
you.
Excessive material desires, a person will be angry also, because nobody can say that all my desires are going to get fulfilled. There are always some unfilled desire. Unfulfilled desires causes anger. And fulfilled desires, they cause greed. That I have gained this, I will gain that also. So that's why he put, he summarized further into these 3. Okay, excessive material desires, anger, and greed. I mean, from very childhood, we've been hearing this. If you know Hindi, lalach buri bula hai,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Greed. So ever since we were like a little babies, we were told, don't be greedy. There were stories after stories. Even in our first class on Saturday, we have a kids class. Over there, often I tell them a story so that they understand that greed is not good. Okay? So anger, we all know, anger is it burns us more than. See, often we think that we are angry because of somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else made a mistake, we get angry. Who is hurting? We are hurting. So anger is not good either. Okay, but the root cause is excessive material desires. Okay. So lust, anger, and greed are the 3 gates of hell, leading to the downfall or bondage of the individual. Therefore, one must learn to give up these 3. He doesn't even talk about reduce them. He says, give them up. Tasmat etat trayam tyajet. Just renounce them. Let them go. There's no justification for greed. There's no justification for anger. There's no justification for lust. One who is liberated from these three gates of hell, O Arjun, does what is best and consequently reaches me. Reaches me means become a saint. So if we make a resolve that I want to become a saint now, today onward, just focus on these three causes of the downfall. Okay. One who acts under the influence of desires, disobeying scriptural injunctions, neither attains perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme abode. Okay, sometimes we think that, no, I'll be happy because when I fulfill my desires. He says, you're not going to attain happiness. Because happiness is always outside of us then. By achieving this, by having this, is almost like a mirage. We are just running after that mirage and we never find happiness. And the scriptures say happiness is inside here, go there. That's where the happiness is. So one who acts under the influence of desires, disobeying scriptural injunctions, neither attains perfection, nor happiness, nor the supreme abode. Then the last verse he says, therefore, let the scripture be your guide in determining what should be done and what should not be done. Because we often have that question. You remember he mentioned that the demonic person doesn't know what to do, what not to do. If we have that problem, what should we do? We should go to the primary scriptures. When he says a Shastra, that means the primary scriptures. The scriptures which are written by the saintly people. Saintly people. Those are the scriptures. So therefore, let the scripture be your guide in determining what should be done and what should not be done. You should perform your duty following the scriptural injunctions. So if somebody says, I cannot understand the scriptures, but it's our duty. This is what we must do. While doing our material duties also, find a teacher who can teach you scriptures. That's why having a guru in life is very important. Guru only teaches the scriptures. Guru gives a knowledge based upon the scriptures. And from there we get to know what to do, what not to do. See, doing and not doing is up to us. Ultimately, we got to make the decision and we got to be steadfast. But Guru gives us the knowledge. See, just like we learned about the secular world, we chose a profession, how to take care of this body. But now, time comes when we want to know what the purpose of life is. See, there are goals of life, there's a purpose of life. Goals of life, they keep on changing with the age. When we were in middle school, high school, college, or after we got married or have children, those are goals, they keep on changing. Purpose of life is the same for all of us and always. Whether we were 5-year-old and now we are 60-some-year-old, doesn't change purpose of life. Guru teaches us, shows us the purpose of life. Schools, universities, they show us the goal of life. Okay? Goal of life could be different for different people also. Purpose of life is same for everybody. So when he talks about the scriptural injunction, that is a purpose of life. Okay? To become one with God, to see the oneness, to cultivate all these qualities which he mentioned in the first 3 verses. See the very first 3 verses, that's what our homework is. Because if you want to become saints, divine, God-like, see, we can have a body of a human, but if our actions, our thoughts, our words are like demons, then we are a animal man. Okay, you can call it a demon also. It's called an animal man. Man body, but animal. When we become little better, we become more and more Rajasic. That is called a man. When we become more Satvik, these qualities in the first chapter, when we see more and more in our personality, then we are a divine man. In a man's body, human being's body I'm talking about, and the qualities of a divinity, divine person. Okay, so let's look at the very first 3 verses again. What we need to do: fearlessness, purity of the inner psyche. Inner psyche means mind, intellect, ego, purity in there. Perseverance in the yoga of self-knowledge. Self-knowledge means Atma, my soul. Charity. Charity is always trying to help somebody else. Charity. Sense restraint. So whether they are action organs or the sense organs, they should be in our control. Sacrifice. Sacrifice means that whatever we have, when we can use it for others, that's a sacrifice. Sacrifice of the selfishness. Study of the scriptures. See, if we don't study the scriptures, we will not know what to do, what not to do. Austerity, honesty. This honesty really means honesty at the verbal level, honesty at the thought level also. Okay. Is there a harmony between what I say and what I do and what I speak or not? Honesty. Non-violence. Non-violence. Am I feeding my stomach and killing somebody? Why somebody has to give up their life so that I can eat? It's a very violent act. Sometimes we say we didn't do it. Hey, somebody else did it for you. You are very much party to that. You will have to pay for that action. My Guruji used to say, if somebody is eating a chicken today, time will come when the chicken will be eating you. That time is not far. Truthfulness, absence of anger, renunciation. Renunciation means a detachment. Equanimity. Okay, there should be a peacefulness in our abstinence from malicious talk. That means gossip also. Sometimes we just don't mind talking about the person who's not there. So that is not a divine quality. Compassion for all creatures. Freedom from greed, gentleness, modesty, absence of fickleness. See, fickle mind. With a fickle mind, you cannot make the decision. That's why later on he said that the demonic person cannot make decision. Fickleness. Splendor, forgiveness. See, when we forgive somebody, we are actually helping ourselves. We don't have to tell the person that we have forgiven that person. Okay, forgiveness. Fortitude. Fortitude really means staying on the path with a firmness. Some of these qualities we won't be able to cultivate in one lifetime even, let alone 1 month or a quick course. No, it's going to take some time. So fortitude, stay firm on that. Okay. Cleanliness. absence of malice and absence of pride. So we shouldn't even have that pride in us that, hey, I have become a divine person. But to let that go also. Maybe next week I'll tell you what this pride really means. What does it really mean, that absence of pride? Okay, there are 6 elements to it. I'll talk about it next week. Okay, how do we really know whether I have pride or not? Okay, so I'll definitely open it up for you. See, these are some of the words. More we open it up, the clearer the message we receive from these words. Okay, so, and it, in Sanskrit, the word for absence of pride, he said, ati manita. Ati manita. Okay, so na ati manita. Now means not. Don't think that you are so great. Okay, and this greatness about body, or greatness about what I have accomplished, greatness about what I have done, those are the things he's talking about. Soul is great. If we identify with the soul, it is part of God. And once we have identified that, then everybody is that anyway. Then what is there to be arrogant about? Okay, so anybody, any question? So we finished this chapter, beautiful chapter. Next chapter, number 17, and we'll start with Arjun's question. And he is going to talk about the scriptures. If somebody doesn't get a chance to study the scriptures, everybody doesn't get a chance. What should that person do? But he says a person has a faith, full faith. Then Lord Krishna talks about the faith. He says faith can be Rajasic and Tamasic and Sattvic too. So he really goes further detail into this Rajsikta, Sattvikta, Tamsikta. That's why I want Kim to send that handout to you, which I often give at the ashram. Kim, you know which handout I'm talking about, right?
I mean, I received one. So it's called the Trinity of the Guna.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, it has two parts, front and back. Just upload that or download. What do you call? Is it upload or a download? What is the right word? Do we down it or we up it? Well, anyway, you know what to do. all I know is how to explain it. Okay, so we'll talk about it. So you guys will have that handout. It's a I've been using that handout for my classes for a long time, and people find it very informative to understand this Sattvikta, Rajsikta, Tamsikta, because often we think only food is Sattvic, Rajsik, Tamsik. Everything in the nature is Sattvic, Rajsik, Tamsik. And because Lord Krishna is going to mention all that in the next 2 chapters. Even happiness is Rajsik, Tamsik, Sattvic. Even the knowledge, I mean, all of these things. I think I'll give you more handouts also to put in how to distinguish all this at a further level. Okay, but right now just give that to everybody so that they can study that and think about it. And okay, so any question?
Yes, Auntie. Quick question. The concept of good and bad time. Last week we talked about Brahma Muhurta, very auspicious time, very early. And growing up, my mom, being very religious, would always say, oh, don't start your journey or drive now. It's bad time is starting. Bad time will be over in 40 minutes. Good time will start. You know, if you pray during this time, it's very auspicious. How would you recommend we approach that? Is there something to that, to always remain in Krishna consciousness? Is there something we should do in a bad time?
Okay, according to the Vedic philosophy, yogic philosophy, there is no bad time. All the times were created by God. God does not create bad time. When we think about in that term, that bad time, good time, what are we doing? We are becoming very narrow-minded. We are hurting ourselves. See, Brahma Muhurat, in the sense they say that, yeah, we should do meditation at that time or puja at that time because there's a few distractions at that time. Okay. Otherwise, any time a person can do meditation. But in the morning, less phone calls, less interruptions if you're living with somebody else also. But otherwise, no time is a bad time. No day is a bad day. No direction is a bad direction. Because sometimes people also say that no, facing north or east, we should meditate.
Right.
No.
Right.
In the Vedic mantras, those rishis, they clearly explain, maybe in future I'll read those mantras to you. God says, I am in every direction and I'm in between the directions too. So so ultimately what we need to do is work on our mind. And anything which makes the mind narrow, which makes the mind dirty in the sense me and you and good and bad, we should rise above that. But I can understand that initially, see, just like a little child, we give them a walker to walk with. Okay. So that's why in every religion they talk about these initial do's and don'ts. Do puja this time, take with your right hand, take this and don't do with the left hand and all that. Those are just very elementary techniques to bring the little kids or the beginners to on the path. But when we study Bhagavad Gita, we have already passed those classes. Okay, so Lord Krishna is taking us towards Him, to oneness. Okay, so we got to just rise up. So I wouldn't say that argue with your mom. Some people are very fixated on that. That's fine, but this is the Vedic philosophy.
I love it. Love it.
And another thing, let me tell you, you being a woman, a young woman, you go through the monthly cycle, which we call periods. A lot of people, they ask me, should we meditate during that time? Why not? Meditation is for the mind.
Right. Of course, yeah, growing up, we weren't supposed to go to temple.
Yeah, no, go to the temple, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. In the old times, maybe they didn't have the water, or the girls, ladies, they had to work a lot. So they just set up a system where they could take some rest. These days, no, we have a better hygiene also, more water also, better food we eat. So we are okay. Right? So we got to think it intellectually. What makes sense to us. Okay? Yeah, another question you wanted to ask?
Yes, Auntie. So how should if we're someone on their spiritual journey, you're praying, you think you're doing well in your mind, and something goes right for you, maybe at work or in personal life, and you're saying, oh, God is rewarding me, I should, keep praying. But then maybe a setback happens in work or personal life. How do we still stay forward on the path and not consider those setbacks punishments or anything?
They are not punishments at all. You will get the answer from Lord Krishna in chapter 18. What the setbacks are. Okay, just hang in there. But they are not the punishments. Everything is cause and effect. And especially when we do all our actions, we offer it to God. Then whatever result we get, we should be satisfied with that. We can always learn a lesson from every effect. Learn a lesson. We did it for God anyway. If God wants it this way, here's a problem. It's choice, right?
Yes.
We should stay a little detached from that outcome. It's not that we should not do our part right. We should do the best of our capability. Let me give you, because you just started this from last week, Karam Yoga. The first 6 chapters of Gita are about Karam Yoga. Simple way to look at Karam Yoga is, no matter what you do, no matter what, it could be cooking or cleaning or walking or working or whatever, do it skillfully. do it lovingly and do it selflessly. Selflessly means don't look at the, while you are doing it, don't look at the fruit. It becomes a karma yoga. The minute we start looking at the fruit, we get attached to the fruit, doesn't stay a karma yoga. Then we cannot say that we are on the path of spirituality. So this is a very, like a elementary message for a person who says that I am on the path of spirituality. Okay? So there's a little detachment, doing the best. It's not that you should not do it skillfully. See, like for example, for me to teach this class, how can I teach this as a Karam Yogi? I should keep on increasing my skill, skillfully. I should love doing it. See, out of all these three, even one cannot be missing. If I can teach skillfully, but at the same time, oh gosh, again I got to teach, that's not a Karam Yoga. And then it has to be selflessly also, nothing for me in it. And nothing for me means it could be at the monetary level, it could be at the name and fame level, it could be any kind of a reward. If reward comes, just take it, but do not let it absorb into you. Then we can say that we have started, it's only a start. It's not an ultimate, this is a start on the path of spirituality. Param Yogis, okay? So this is what Gita teaches us, but yeah, just keep asking questions, that's fine. And you are from LA. We're gonna keep this class on, definitely. But we were thinking about, see, right now we have 3 classes Saturday. First for the kids at 10 o'clock. Then we have for the little older kids at 10:30. Then this class at 11:30. So I'm still debating. Change this class to the 10:30 class. Will that will be too early for you?
Oh no, I have a 9-month-old. Nothing is too early for me.
Okay, all right, okay. Because then I'm done by 10:30 to 11:30. Then I'm done. Then I can do other things also. So
Yes.
But we'll continue this class though. But next couple of weeks we'll have it at 11:30 Chicago time. So that's like 8:30 your time.
Okay.
Right?
Very
8:30 or 9:30.
Well, we're 2 hours behind you, I believe.
Okay. So 11:30 then to 9:30 right now. So in future it will be 8:30. So we'll see. We'll still talk about it, Kim. Okay.
So then are you taking out the kids class?
No, right now nothing. We are not canceling anything. Every day you can come, Rani. Okay.
No. Just
I don't want you to lose sleep.
no. I'm talking for the Saturday class.
So there are 3 classes. So I'm thinking about combining the second and the third.
Oh, I see.
Because most of the people are on the second also, and the third also. I mean, but I know you come for the third one. So Randa comes too. But for Randa also, it's okay, Randa, right?
No, I like 11:30 is better timing. I like it this time better.
You like 11:30 better. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, I have everyone's email, so I can send people an email and ask what time is best.
Yeah, 10:30 or 11:30. But next 2 weeks is the same though. We are not changing it because we have to finish chapter 17 and chapter 18. Okay. Well, anyway, have a wonderful day. If you have a question. Okay, Randa.
Oh, sorry.
And I'll take whatever class whatever time is fine with me. Whatever
Thank
time.
you, Randa. Thank you. Yeah, the reason I was saying 10:30 because other days we have 10:30 class. Huh? Every day we have a 10:30 class. So that was to keep same time for this to keep it simple. So
Everyone.
Okay, wait, Rhonda, don't go yet. Don't go yet,
Okay.
Rhonda. Okay, just want to make a quick announcement before everybody goes. So a lot of you come to the Wednesday classes, and last Wednesday, Hershji taught us sort of an Uber pranayam that you can do instead of other pranayams. It's very complicated, and so we put together a handout, and it's now available on the Yoga Sadhan Ashram website. So if you plan to come to the Wednesday class, please look at the handout, and it will tell you how to do it and what you need to do to prepare. Because this coming Wednesday, we will go through that pranayama, but with no explanations. Hersh is just going to guide us through it for about 20 minutes. So from the ashram website, you go to programs, you click on handouts, and when we put this information together, it's called Pracharan Vidaran. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So it'll take you to this handout. It's actually like 4 pages. It's a lot of information. So please, if you plan to come to the Wednesday class, please have a look at this so that you're not, confused and you're able to follow along. Okay.
Okay.
So,
Kim, I have a question. Where do you have a recording? Under what?
the recording.
Recordings are under scriptural readings.
You can show me right now if you have time,
Yes.
please.
Yes. Let me show you. So.
I'm having problem to find that.
Okay. So yeah, if you go to the Yoga Sadhan Ashram website.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you see this tab that says scriptural readings
Mm-hmm.
on the right. Yeah. So if you click on scriptural readings.
Yeah, I don't know like a Wednesday class or either one. Yeah, let's see.
There's a pull down menu. So Bhagavad Gita is our Sunday class.
Mm-hmm.
The Ramayana we do on Tuesday. Topic of the day is the Wednesday class.
And how about Friday?
So Friday we have not been posting the recordings. Friday we're studying Tao Te Ching. I have made a few recordings.
Yeah, you did that Friday, the one I'm looking for, right? Yeah.
Oh, I see. I'll ask Jyoti to post the Friday class.
Okay, that's fine.
If you are interested in it, yeah. So if you click on any of these, it'll take you to all the videos.
Where's the Wednesday class in here? I don't see it.
Wednesday's topic of the day.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. Topic of the day is the Wednesday class.
Okay, thank you. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right, yeah, so you can go to topic of the day and review the video demonstration that Hershji gave of the pranayama.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want the instructions in front of you, you can go to the programs and handouts and then click on this,
Okay.
this one.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that'll give you the instructions.
Thank you so much, Kim, for that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Better, guys.
Yeah, Kim is doing a lot of work. So yeah,
Yes,
okay, namaste,
yes.
bete. See you next week, okay? She is from Monika's group from LA.
I think we have met you before.
No,
haven't
we have
No?
not met her. No, she's in LA. Yeah.
But namaste, uncle.